Good afternoon. These notes are on angles, and this will be page 69 of your notebook. So angles are formed when two rays have a common endpoint, and it's called the vertex. And you can name an angle three different ways. So this one are letters F-U-N, and then U is that common vertex that the two rays share in common. So we're going to call this three different names. So angle F-U-N. We can also just call it angle U because that's the vertex right here. And then we can also name it where if we put like a number or a symbol inside, we can also call that angle 1. So that's three different ways to name this. You could also change the order.
Miss Umstead, could you please call the front office? Miss Umstead, could you please call the front office?
You can change the order of this and call it angle NUF as long as the U is in the middle, and that tells you where the vertex is. All right. 4 types of angle measures. We've got acute angles, right angles, obtuse, and straight. Acute are less than 90, so let's draw a picture of an acute angle. Right angles are exactly 90, and we're going to draw a square in the middle to show that it's perpendicular, which is 90 degrees. Obtuse measures more than 90, but less than 180. And then straight angles are exactly 180 degrees. A straight line makes 180 degrees. So those are the 4 types of angle measures. So now we're going to name each of these based on the letters given and the type of angle that it is. So looking here, we can call this angle LPQ or QPL or just angle P. The type of angle is obtuse. This next one is exactly what we did up here. So angle FUN, or just angle U, or angle NUF. And the type of angle this is acute. This angle, we can name it angle JTW, so JTW or WTJ, or just angle T. And the type that this one is a right angle, which they should have put a symbol here. So this is a right angle. Okay. Now we're going to talk about angles where there's 2 or more together, and then they have a sum of something. Right here, it's complementary angles. Complementary angles are 2 or more angles whose sum is 90 degrees. So right here, what we can do is we can actually find that this is, so A plus 54 is equivalent to 90. Because these are complementary. And then 54, and then 90 take away 54, because that's a one-step equation. So 90 minus 54 gives me an angle measure of 36. So A is angle 36. Supplementary angles are 2 or more angles whose sum is 180, so they form a straight line. Or in here, we can also call these linear pairs because they form that straight line. So this is a linear pair. So what we're going to do is we're going to do G plus 106 gives me 180, and then subtract 180 by 106. Then you get an angle measure of 74 degrees. Now what we're going to do is identify the angles as complementary or supplementary and then find the missing angles. So right here, these are complementary. Complementary means they add to be 90 degrees. So W plus 77 equals 90. So we're going to subtract 77 from 90. And we get a total measurement of 13 degrees. Here, we know that D is 90 because it has the symbol for 90 degrees. We know that all 3 of these form a straight line, which is supplementary. So we know that all of those are, and I'm going to put supplementary right here. And then what I want to do is I know that D plus E plus 24 gives me 180. Well, I already know that D is 90, so I'm going to say, all right, 90 plus E plus 24 gives me 180 degrees. I can add 90 and 24 and get 114. So 114 plus E gives me 180. And then I can subtract the 114 from both sides. So 180 minus 114 gives me a difference of 66 degrees. So then I have 90, 66, and 24, and I can add all three of those together to see if that's true. So 90 plus 66 plus 24, it does give me 180 degrees. Okay, so that's the front side. The inside is about vertical and adjacent angles. Vertical angles are two angles formed opposite each other when two lines intersect, and they are congruent. Congruent means to be equal. So if you want to write the word equal, you can. Adjacent angles are two angles that are side by side and have a common vertex inside. So down here are some examples of vertical and adjacent angles. So A and B, these are opposite of each other, and they do share a vertex. Okay, so those are called vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent, so those would actually be the same measurement as each other. X and Y are opposite of each other. So we're going to also call those vertical angles. Over here, we're going to name a pair of vertical angles. So it looks like E and H are vertical. So angle E and angle H. And then also F and G. So angle F and angle G are also vertical. Adjacent, F and H, because they share that common side and that common vertex. So angle F and H. E and G are also adjacent. E and F are not because they have this space in between, and G and H are not because they have that space in between. So those are your vertical angles and your adjacent angles. So down here, you're going to do some practice. We are going to decide whether they are complementary, supplementary. We're also going to use some algebra to solve for the missing variable for x. So we're going to do all kinds of math stuff, and then you guys are going to do the practice on this side. So let's go down here. So we know that we've got these three angle measures, and these three angle measures are supplementary. Supplementary means they add to be 180 degrees. So supplementary. Their sum is 180. So we know that 9 degrees plus x plus 45 adds to be 180. And then what we can do is we can combine 9 and 45. So 9 plus 45, and that gives me 54. So 54 plus x is equal to 180, and then 180 minus 54 gives me a total of 126. So x has to be 126 degrees. Okay. The next one, we're going to use some kind of investigative skills. So we know that y is 90 because that is a symbol for 90 degrees. We know that x and this guy right here, this angle measure of 30, are vertical. And we know that vertical angles are congruent. Congruent means to be equal. So if that's 30 and then x is vertical to it, then we know that x also has to be 30. Okay. Another thing that we know is that right here, W and X, so W and X are supplementary. They're a linear pair. So if we know that X is 30, then we know that W plus 30 gives me 180. So W plus 30 equals 180, which means that W has to be 150. So we know that W is 150. And then one other thing is that if we know that Y is 90, then we know that Z plus 30 is also 90 because this is a, these are supplementary angles. So if this is 30, then Z has to be 60. So it's kind of like a puzzle. You have to find all the pieces. All right, moving on. So now we've got some algebra because we've got some variables involved. So I know that 6x and 12x are supplementary. And supplementary adds to be 180 degrees. So 6x plus 12x equals to 180 degrees. Well, 6x plus 12x is 18x. And then I know that I can divide by 18. And I get that x is 10. They also, up here it says find the missing angle measures. So if x is 10, then this means 6 times 10, and 6 times 10 is 60. And 12 times 10 is 120. So my two angle measures are 60 and 120. And 60 plus 120 does give me 180. So there are 3 answers for this problem. This problem is complementary. Complementary, the sum is 90. So 2x plus x equals 90 degrees. 2x plus x is 3x. And 3x equals 90, which means that x has to be, because I'm going to divide by 3, and I get 30. So x is 30. They also want to know the angle measures themselves. So this one is just x, so it's 30. And this is 2 times x, which is 60. So my angle measures that were missing were 30 and 60, which does give me the 90 degrees. This next one here, these are called vertical angles because they are formed opposite of each other when 2 lines intersect. So we know that these are congruent, and congruent means to be equal. So really what we can say is that 5x is congruent to, is equal to 155. Then we can divide both by 5. And 155 divided by 5 is 31. So x is 31. They want to know the angle measure of this. Well, 31 times 5 is 155. And guess what? If this is 155, then that has to be 155, so it does check off. The last two we're doing together. All right, find the complement of each angle. Complement means that it's a sum of 90. So 85 plus what equals 90? 5. 42 plus what gives me 90? 48. And 13 plus what gives me 90? 67. No, 77. Sorry. 77. Okay. All right, these ones over here are supplementary. Supplementary means adds to be 180, so their sum is 180. So the missing angle here would be 50. The missing angle here would be 115. Right? Hold on. 180 minus 115 is 65. Yep. And then this one would be 171 degrees. All right, now that we've done the front and the inside, what I would like for you to do is go ahead and practice 1 through 11 on this side, and then please have any comments, questions, put at the bottom of the video or ask tomorrow in class. All right, I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you guys tomorrow in school.